What's going on, y'all? Listen, the weather was crazy. The rain wouldn't go away. There were killer penalties in this game. There's so much to talk about. We're going to talk about penalties. We're going to talk about missed opportunities. We're going to talk a little bit about the weather and how bad it was out there on the field for both teams, not just the 49ers. All that and more. 49ers news, injury updates. Stick around. We'll be right back after this.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Breezy this, breezy that. They know I'm gold-blooded. I got the Niners on my back, you know. Yeah. Breezy this, breezy that. Ain't nobody working like Breezy, and that's a fact. Overmotivated is an understatement. Gold-blooded to the core, got your squad hating. Breezy make it look easy. Breezy on everything like 05, 06, 7 Wheezy. This is not a game. Yeah, we faithful in every way. And even though we on the East Coast, very loyal to the Bay. Heavy red and gold every day. And if you really a Niner fan, I know you can relate. Applying pressure with this content like Smaller Bear. We not accepting no slander about Trey, so beware. I stay in exclusively Niner hats. And I always tell the truth, this exclusively Niner facts. Breezy this, breezy that. They know I'm gold-blooded, I got the Niners on my back, you know. Yeah, breezy this.
Breezy this, breezy that. What's good, everybody, man? It's your boy, Wayne Breezy. I'm on the road, man. I'm still out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be leaving directly after we finish this episode. I'm going to hit in, check out, head to the airport. I call it the Clearport. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to head back up north to the east where it's home. We're going to bring you that nitty-gritty Niners talk show tonight. And it's going to be exclusive because Nothing But Niners is going to be in the building too, man. Shout out to everybody. What's going on, everybody? Good morning out there. Look, did anybody get any sleep? Thumbs up if you were able to get any sleep. I didn't sleep. I think I actually had nightmares out there. Like I was sitting and saying to myself, how in the heck did we lose this game? Like, I got zero sleep. I got up. I rewatched the game. My all-22 wasn't ready, so I rewatched the game again. I rewatched the game fully and condensed. Like I think I'm starting to become a little bit obsessed. A lot of people didn't get any sleep, and I'm sorry if you guys didn't get any sleep, man. Look. There was a comment in the section, and Classard said, listen, man, I'm choosing the Bears in the poll because you never underestimate your opponent. And for one, I don't think the 49ers underestimated the Bears. I just think that they failed to do 3, maybe even 4, maybe even 5 out of my keys to victory. If you guys remember my keys to victory, if you go back and rewatch that episode, I had 5 things that the 49ers had to do to come out on top. One of them was contain. And for the first half, they contained them really well. The second half, I thought that the Bears made adjustments, and then it was what it was. Listen, before we go even get into this show, man, let's go ahead and get through the formalities. I still got to pay bills. We are sponsored, so I definitely got to send a shout out to our sponsors. Make sure you like, you comment, and subscribe. YouTube.com/Wayne Breezy. You can find it right there. All right. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Also on the YouTube channel. Listen, first 2 minutes. Every episode, hashtag WBCC. Yes, we're starting our official countdown crew this week. All right, so on every episode, hashtag WBCC. The first 2 minutes of every episode, those will be counted, and we will decide who's going to be the winner randomly, who's going to be the winner at the end of every month. We'll do the drawing, and you guys will win something cool. All right, man. So make sure you hashtag WBCC at the very first 2 minutes of every episode. And to all the members out there, I didn't forget about you. I'm just not home. and I can't really do any giveaway things, but your giveaway is coming this week if you are subscribed as a member to the YouTube channel. Shout out to you guys. Don't forget Twitch, follow and subscribe on Twitch. You can do it free with your Amazon Prime account. All right. Don't forget to join the Patreon, patreon.com/Wayne Breezy. I get to break down film this week. It's going to be exciting. I hope you guys got that tier package where I'm going to be doing These Are the Breaks with your boy Breezy. If you guys like that Breezy 101 session where I was able to break down some stuff, man, that's going to be the weekly content. But these are the breaks I'm going to be breaking down for those out there on the Patreon. Follow and super follow on Twitter at Wayne Breezy. Don't forget to super follow giveaways every first of the month. Follow on Instagram, Wayne Breezy, number 2. The website is www.twbnben. I can't wait to post the pictures from the events, the games, and things like that from this weekend. Those should be updated very shortly. All the lovely 49er people I met. I even met some lovely Bear fans. I'm not even going to front. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you this right now. The Bears fans did not think they were going to win that game. I was live in a Dunkin' Donuts, and there were Bears fans that were still flabbergasted at how they came out victorious. That's how they just knew they weren't going to win. They felt we were the dominant team. Now, some Bear fans feel like they're going to the Super Bowl. Don't forget, you can email me, WayneBreezy@twben.com. If you met me, you were out here in Chicago, and we got a chance to meet, you took pictures, and you took things, make sure you email them to me, man, so I could post them, tag you in them, right? And last but not least, the latest in 49ers news, 49ers www.49erswebzone.com. Make sure you go ahead and check out the latest in 49ers news. And there it is right there, man. That's our promo for right now. Our sponsor, www.residency.com. Make sure you use the promo code SFBreezy. If you don't see me with a residency hat on, it's not because I'm not promoting them. I just didn't really want to wear them over here in this weather. You know what I'm saying? I don't have many residency hats, and if my residency hat got messed up, I would be pissed because you guys know how hard they are to get. All right, so make sure you go ahead and check that out. I will be in Denver in 2 weeks, man, so it's going to be exciting. If I didn't get a chance to meet you here in Chicago, I hope to meet you out in Denver. All right, if I missed any super chats, I do apologize. I'll go back and scroll. I don't have my main computer. I'm on my laptop, but I want to talk about the injury. We got to start with the injury. You know what I'm saying? If you guys don't know, the 49ers lost. They unfortunately they couldn't win, and they should have lost 21-10. If you really want to keep it 100, they lost 21-10. Who's their kicker? Santos. I believe he missed 2 extra points. You know what I'm saying? But I'll leave that ticker there on the bottom. But let's start with the injury report, all right? Elijah Mitchell, man. Look, Elijah Mitchell, 49ers running back 1, was injured. He must have got injured. He got hit in the knee toward the end of the first half. All right, toward the end of the first half. The injury was so like you didn't even see it. Like it was toward the end of the first half. He got hit right on the side of the knee, not front on. It was the side of it. You saw the knee kind of buckle and bend in. Shout out to my bro Raj for posting the clip too. I got a chance to see the clip. At the game, I never even saw him get injured. All right. And it was funny because he was probably the leading rusher at that point. And you saw every time he touched the ball, he was leaning forward. He was moving forward. He was getting, the 49ers, even Kyle Shanahan felt that the 49ers rushed the ball well. I thought they did rush the ball well collectively. We just didn't get the breakout game from our running back. And then we had to kind of spruce up the run game. We had to use some Deebo Samuel back there. Trey Lance actually led the team in rushing with like 50+ yards. So it was crazy. And, Elijah Mitchell's out with a knee injury. Quote, like the rumor is he has a MCL sprain. And I'm hoping that's what it is, not a tear. You don't want him to tear the MCL or his luckily it's not the ACL, but the MCL. We're hoping that this is not a tear, because if it's a tear, it's a possibility he might not play for a long time. And we'll see, man. Prayers go up, Elijah Mitchell. This is all that I have for injuries. If you guys have any other injury reports out there, I'll go ahead and post them up there inside of the chat. Go ahead and post it in the chat and I'll talk about it. But this was a big one. And I will talk more about it tonight on the Nitty Gritty Niners Talk, which is titled Plan B. All right. And I felt like Plan A was Elijah Mitchell, but there was no Plan B. And we'll break that down tonight on tonight's episode. Because once Plan A went down, 49ers were trying to figure out a way. How were they going to sustain the run game for the team? Now, 49ers had a 7-point lead at the end of the first half. Kylie, you had a very good comment, and you're right. And so if you look at the poll question, right? The poll question, some people might feel like that poll question is kind of cheesy or whatever, whatnot. And some people might feel like it's a collective of things. And I get it, but that's not an option. I wanted you to pick one. And it's a specific reason why. We'll talk about it at the very end of the episode when we find out who the winner is. But Kylie said we should have been up 21-0 at the half. And I'm going to keep it a buck with you, Kylie. That is exactly what was in my mind as I was watching the game. You want to know why? We dominated. The 49ers dominated this game. They actually probably led, like from the last time I checked, in every statistical category. Even the bad categories, they were the leaders in. Obviously, we lost. But yards, rushing, throwing, you name it, first downs, everything. We led in everything, right? And then you look at the negative ones where we led in where penalties and things like that, and you kind of say, dang, you can understand, why the 49ers lost. Even at Trent Williams' presser, he said something like, "Oh yeah, man, I've been in the league for a while, and I can't think of any time we were able to win a game with almost 100 yards in penalties." Mike yesterday said on the overreaction show, like, I don't know if it was Mike, but it wasn't me. I don't think it was Peachy. So I want to say it was Mike. Could have been Tony. My apologies. They were like, yo, I think it was Mike. He was like, we gave up 99 yards and penalties, which is damn near a touchdown. Because if you count the yards, like one more yard, you're in the end zone. So it's crazy, right? When you think about it. We're going to talk about penalties in a second. But I definitely wanted to touch on the Elijah Mitchell injury. And like I said, our prayers go up to Elijah Mitchell, hoping that you're well. We wish you to a speedy recovery, my guy. All right, man. My guy, get your rest. Get back to football. We know you love playing football. Elijah Mitchell looked good. Elijah Mitchell looked good. I will say that. He looked like he was a premier top running back in the league every time he led. I mean, I don't think he rushed for any loss of yards. Correct me if I'm wrong out there. I don't think he had any negative yards. He might have got right back to the line of scrimmage, but after rewatching the game, I don't think he had any negative yards in the game, and he looked good. But Kylie, you're 100% correct, man. I thought we should have been up 21-0, and that's why one of the choices inside of the categories is missed opportunities, and we're going to talk about that. Matter of fact, let's start with the missed opportunities. Let's do it. Missed opportunity. Now, here are 3 off the top of my head. 3 opportunities that we missed, we didn't hit home on, and one was big. One was big. And even on the defense, you can say there were missed opportunities by not getting off the field, even without the penalties. So before we talk about any penalties, let's focus on these missed opportunities. I got 3. If you guys have any different than the 3 that I got, feel free to post them in the chat. I'll make sure I look to pull them up. I wish I had PG on here because she could definitely pull them up because I'm only working on my laptop. But I'll try to go back and forth to the screens, all right, without ending the broadcast like I did yesterday on Sizzling Sunday. Yep, that was my fault. All right, so the Deebo Samuel's fumble, that was my first one. The Trey Lance sack on the goal line, that was my second one, right? Because, and we'll talk about it. And last but not least, the Dante Pettis play. And I'll go ahead and break those 3 plays down, all right? First one, let's talk about the Deebo Samuel fumble. The 49ers were driving. Again, they were looking like they were in full command of the game. They were in a rhythm, right? Trey Lance at that fumble, Trey Lance was 2 for 2. He had about, did he have 30 yards, 30 plus yards, 2 for 2. He was looking good. He had that one big throw to Brandon Ayuk across, the left side of the field. Yeah, the left side of the field. Nice throw to Brandon Ayuk. I thought it was an amazing throw. Some people was like, how is it an amazing throw if he was wide open? Because it was accurate and it was a spiral. It wasn't wobbly and it went right in front of the receiver to not only for him to catch the ball, but to lead him back up the field so he can get what we call YAC, yakety yak, don't come back. So I thought it was an amazing throw. Anyway, you know how Twitter be. So that was the first one. Deebo's driving. And look, I don't know what to say because it's uncharacteristic for Deebo Samuel to fumble the ball. I'm blaming it on the rain. Yeah. Like that's it. It was the rain. The ball was protected. He had the ball tight to the titty. It was protected, right? I can't even show you, but it was tight. boom, right there in the titty. He wasn't even trying to make a cut move to where the arm was going to move. I tell you what, the defender hit the peanut Tillman punch, and the ball popped out. Ball slippery when wet. It was slippery. What do you want? It was slippery, and this was in the first quarter. Ball was super slippery. I'm not saying he shouldn't be held accountable for the fumble because they asked him about the fumble. I'm just saying he was doing just about everything right except for protecting the football. He didn't even get hit hard, bro. The ball just got straight punched down. Ball came squirming out. It was nothing. He got hit after the fact. It was nothing you can possibly do. There were no 49ers in the play to try to jump off on that ball. It was that. It was that right there. And I said, you know what? And I believe it was 0-0 at the time. I don't think we had scored yet. Can't remember off the top of my head, but we were definitely going into score. All right. Now, I would say this. The defense was playing lights out for 2 quarters straight. Possibly you can say lights out for 2.5 quarters, even into that third quarter. They were playing lights out. I don't have my sound effects buttons, but hey, if we get a contribution in, I'm going to put it up there anyway. 49ers _ throwback says, Jimmy wouldn't won this game for us, Jimmy stands. All right, this is a message to Jimmy stands because we're going to talk about Trey Lance a little bit later. I just want to finish these takes on the missed opportunities. And when I talk about Trey, I'll talk about, you're right. And you're 100% correct. There's no way Jimmy would have won this game. If you look at the comments on the overreaction show, somebody put something, Jimmy would have won this game. He beat Chicago, blah, 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 blah. First of all, you know what? I'm going to talk about it. First of all, get it riled up, baby. Shout out to my brother Steve, man. Speaking of Steve, man, Steve is responsible for the overlays for the show. If you guys are into content creating and you want overlays for your show, that's him right there. Steve Mullen Jr., you can hit him up right there on Twitter. Just DM him. Let him know Breezy sent you, and he'll go ahead and hook you up. You have to pay a small fee, but I guarantee you he takes care of you. And even if you need a revision, he is quick. The one thing I love about Steve is not just his accuracy, it's his turnaround time. That makes everything different. Remember I talked about going through the drive-through at McDonald's. They got 2 drive-thhrus. I thought having 2 drive-thhrus was supposed to make service faster. It really doesn't. It just does. It's even slower. I was like, wait a minute, how you got 2 drive-throughs and it still take me 30 minutes to get my food? What kind of fast food crap is this? Anyway, Mullen's turnaround time is crazy, man. Shout out to SMJ. All right, listen. What's going on, everybody? Keep evolving. I definitely will. I appreciate the comments. I'm sitting here like that Deebo Samuel fumble. It was the first tick toward the downward spiral, but we overcame it because the defense did exactly what I asked them to do in my keys to victory. They capitalized. They found a way to get the ball back. Remember, that was my part 2 of 1. Defense has to capitalize. Offense has to capitalize when the defense gets them the ball back. The 49ers field position was ridiculous for the first half. They should have scored 21 points easily, and that 7 points from Deebo would have been another 7 points, or if we already had the 7 points, I felt like we didn't have the 7 points. You know why? Because Deebo redeemed himself by scoring a touchdown. That would have been the first 7 on the board. Then he ended up scoring 7 later for a rush. It was just like, damn, like we can't catch a break. Ball pops out. It is what it is. All right, so we overcome that. Let's get down to my second point, though, because I had 3, and I want to get to my second one. Missed opportunities. Here we go. We were talking about Trey Lance. The 49ers were able to get the ball. Look, first of all, y'all gonna keep Trey Lance's name out your mouth if it ain't positive. And that does not mean you can't criticize him, but this kid, I'm not going to say he played immaculate football, but the kid was pretty damn poised in the pocket out there. And torrential downpour was trying to throw the ball when he was asked to throw the ball. Like and had some darts, had some nice completed passes. I know he completed less than 50% of his passes. I know he threw more than what we wanted him to throw for. We ran the ball for the number over the runs of 37 attempts, I believe we rushed, and we still lost. So at the end of the day, I felt like Trey Lance played a pretty damn good, solid game. And I tell you what, he outplayed Justin Fields. It just so happens the 49ers failed to do one of my damn points, my factors, and that was capitalize. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit frustrated. This is not the overreaction show. This is Breezy. Usa. I got Usa. Back to Trey Lance. So Trey Lance ended up getting sacked. I think it was on a third down? I think it was a third down. He was in the shotgun formation. Now, because I want to revert to the play call as well. That whole 1st and 5 series, the play calling was weird. Because we moved the ball up. I felt like we moved the ball up the first time with Jeff Wilson Jr. We got up to the 2-yard line. The second time, Jeff Wilson Jr. ended up getting stopped. So he lost yards. So we were kind of like back a little bit. So that kind of eliminates some things. I want to save that play calling element, but I want to talk about what was called. Trey Lance was in the shotgun. He was told to drop back. And for some reason, the pressure got to him and he ended up getting sacked. And I know he felt like that was his fault and he's taking the blame. His accountability is super important. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I really felt like that particular play wasn't on him, other than the fact he could have stepped up in the pocket and tried to run. That's it. That's the only thing I felt like Trey Lance could have did, because I'm going to tell you right now, had he turned the ball over in the end zone, that would have been 100 times worse, 1,000 times worse. He took the sack and still allowed his team to get a chance to get some points to put up on the board. That's when we went up in the second half. We went up to 10-0. If you guys remember that, Robbie Gould kicked the field goal. We went up 10-0. But that drive was immaculate. I thought that drive was spot on. You had a couple of drop passes, but like that drive, we started at the 20 and got all the way down to the goal line. Trey Lance had a dope hard count, got the team to draw him off sides, get the first down. You know what I'm saying? Like, Trey is a NFL quarterback. I feel like you guys should sit there and say that Trey Lance is an NFL quarterback and he's ready for football. And I would say this, if you guys want to blame it on the weather, you have every right to, because I guarantee you if the weather was different, I still think Justin Fields would have been Justin Fields, but I think Trey Lance would have had an even better game if the weather was better. I'm just going to put it out there like that. I'm going to leave it at that. That's my take. Whatever it is, you can run with it. That's how I feel about it. But that sack right there was a missed opportunity for getting a touchdown, because if you go up 14-0 opposed to 10-0, you're going to change the way the Bears have to play on offense. Now let's get to the next series in the third quarter, right? Which kind of stimulates to that. And that was that defensive play. All right. Now, in between, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I got to do this quick contribution. Shout out to Marty Marr. What's going on, family? We always let former players have big plays on us. I didn't even know your contribution said this. And this is exactly where I'm going. And it fits the segment perfectly. Yes, I said it the way I wanted to. Perfectly. Fits the segment perfectly. We're talking about Dante Pettis, former player. I don't know if I'm more upset with the penalties in this game or if I'm upset with the miscommunication and the blown coverage on Dante Pettis. Now, let me rephrase that, because it wasn't necessarily a blown coverage. It wasn't necessarily a blown coverage. All right, it wasn't blown coverage. I can't remember if it was Ebukam, Bosa, whoever it was missed the sack. They couldn't get him down. So he was, and at that point, I'm thinking Greenlaw, I'm thinking Hufanga, I'm thinking the back end of that defense, right? The coverage side, the coverage end, thought that he was sacked. And when he escaped, it was too late to react, especially in the weather conditions. So we can either blame Hufanga or Greenlaw. A lot of people are blaming Greenlaw. Fine. A lot of people are blaming Hufanga. Fine. Either way, the defense allowed slippery when wet. Dante Pettis slipped out of the zone. He slipped out of the zone. Greenlaw was playing zone. Hufanga was playing zone. And Pettis slipped out of the zone when Justin Fields extended a play. It's the same type of situation that Deebo Samuel did in the Seattle Seahawks game when Trey Lance slipped out of a play and extended a play, and Deebo slipped out of the zone. He was wide open and he ran it for a touchdown. Same play you almost saw in the Super Bowl. Same play you saw in the Super Bowl with Tyreek Hill. Slipped out of the play. Once a quarterback extends a play, it makes it harder on the back end. Right now, I'm not saying that, Greenlaw shouldn't have been there or whatever. I do know that they were playing zone, Martin. I do know that they were playing zone, guys. And I don't know if they're supposed to, when the play breaks down, I don't know if the kill signal is to switch to man. We tried to get some football expertise on that. Maybe we got to bring in a secondary expertise if they're supposed to slip to man when a play breaks down. Because what ended up happening was, if you watch the play again, Dante Pettis got caught in the zone, and Greenlaw was there. And if Dante Pettis, from his hook curl route, if he would have decided to extend the play inside, Hufanga would have been there. That would have been an interception. Instead, he slipped to the outside. There was no help over the top because you had your cornerback still covering wide receivers down the field. And so Greenlaw just had to be the guy to follow Dante Pettis. But again, he was stuck in his zone, and he bit hard on the sack because he thought the guy. I think they all thought he was sacked. All right. I see some people, Michael, saying I blame Greenlaw on that one because he was terrible all game. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Big Dad, 16 yards between Pettis and the nearest defender. Bam. See what I'm saying? That. But again, Big Dez, I don't know how you feel, but like I felt like it was because the play broke down, though. Everybody else was covering their guy. Greenlaw was the only guy that should have been following Pettis, but Pettis kind of just slipped out of the zone. I don't know. I'm gonna blame it on Greenlaw because everybody else is blaming it on Greenlaw. We just gonna keep the party going. I would love to know what you guys think, man. You can hit me up in the comment section. A lot of people saying Greenlaw was very undisciplined. Hey, he had 2 penalties, right? 2. I had him have 2 penalties. And speaking of penalties, let's get to the penalties. All right, let's get to the penalties. I see Southside Bears saying, guys, put some respect. His Bears pulled out that one. Your Bears won, man. Congratulations to your Bears fam. But you and every other Bears fan thought y'all weren't going to win that game. Keep it 100 on my show, please. I would appreciate that. Let's get to these penalties because the 49ers have 12 penalties for Javon Kinlaw yards. I had Greenlaw with 2 of those penalties. So he had 2 of the 10. But his penalties, the timing of his penalties was super costly. All right, super costly. As a matter of fact, they asked Kyle Shanahan about the penalties. They asked Kyle Shanahan actually about Kyler Murray and how slippery he was. Not Kyler Murray, Justin Fields, and how slippery he was to get. And then he mentioned one of the penalties. Here's who's Kyle Shanahan's penalties. He felt like this was the worst penalty. Here, let's check it out. I actually
there was a big emphasis all week. We felt pretty good about some of the matchups and stuff, especially with our D.
They felt pretty good.
That was going to be a big deal, especially when you have a quarterback who's hard to bring down and the element of how hard you have to run to get to him. We were very well aware that.
See, he was hard to bring down without the elements, and he's probably going to be even harder to bring down with the elements. I counted three missed sacks on Justin Fields. And I don't know if it was because of the elements or just him just being like a worm. And so guess what? We got to play Kyler Murray. We got to play Patrick Mahomes. These are the quarterbacks we're going to have to deal with. I believe the field conditions are going to be better. We're going to have to play these guys, man. And we're going to have to figure out how to always find a way to contain and finish the plays. We didn't finish these plays. These would have been sacks. Let's finish listening to Kyle.
We're going to have to avoid him when he slid and didn't do a good enough job of that. But I think the worst one was the unnecessary face mask, which I couldn't see when we stopped it back in the backfield.
And that's it. That's it. He mentioned that one penalty, that face mask penalty. I think that was the worst penalty in this whole game. The face mask. Contain. Terradome. Did you not speak about that when you called in on the show last week? Contain. Those were your words. Your words were so valuable, I wrote about it. Contain. That's what we have to do with these particular type of quarterbacks. Because if you let them get outside the pocket, they can do one or two things. They can run. If you break down your coverages and coverage, they're going to throw the ball as hard as they can across the field because they're going to have somebody wide open. And so I don't know if we had the wrong defense out there in that coverage, but it is what it is. All right. Kyle Shanahan said that we need to contain, and we did not contain. because we were allowed, we let him get outside. And then on top of that, that face mask penalty kept a drive alive in the third down, where I felt like they were going to be able to get, that playoff. And yeah, yeah. The penalties was bad. Now, that wasn't the only bad penalty. Greenlaw also had the penalty when Justin Fields slid out of bounds. I went back and rewatched that. That was a tough one to call. I thought that one was ticky tacky. Maybe the face mask one was blatant, but that other one was like, dang, like he running full speed. Fields don't slide until Greenlaw already starts the tackle. The next thing you know, it's an automatic 15. Automatic 15. Hey, still undisciplined. Al-Shaair, undisciplined. We're gonna talk about Greenlaw. I felt like Greenlaw had the worst game, but they all had penalties. Mooney Ward, holding, 5 yards, automatic first down. Javon Kinlaw, holding, 5 yards, automatic first down. Brandon Ayuk, offensive pass interference. Should not have been offensive pass interference, but you can't even look to extend any part of your body as a wide receiver. Maybe you should have did a chicken wing, an elbow. I don't know, but when they saw the hand extend, the Chicago Bears defender sold the heaven out of that play. He touched him with his middle finger. He said, boop. And the dude said, ooh, oh, damn, I lost my hat. The dude did the biggest NBA flop I've ever seen. Got the OPI. That was a big game, too, for Trey Lance and Brandon Ayuk. It's just little fundamentals, right? And I think this week, the 49ers are going to have to work on their fundamentals. And then when you get into that fourth quarter and you're losing, anything can happen. And then here come the false starts. 3 false starts in the fourth quarter on the offensive lineman. Spencer Burford, Trent Williams. Can't remember who the other one was. It's unacceptable. But you know what? They've been out there for a long time. It's tired. They're tired. I get it. They're trying to get the jump. It's not like their defense was a force and a reckon. Trey Lance was sacked only 2 times. I think Dominique Robinson was in on both of them. I know he got 1 clear sack. That was on Mike McGlinchey. We ain't going to let that slide. And then the other one he was able to get because I felt like Elijah Mitchell missed the block. Like I felt like, I don't know. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think Trent Williams looked bad, honestly. He just had a false start. Fields was also sacked twice. You're absolutely right, Vlad. The Impala. He was also sacked twice. Bosa and was it Ebukam? Bosa and Ebukam. They got the sacks on Fields. Listen, the penalties were a big part of this game. It showed how the 49ers, they were just really undisciplined. And like, I think Peachy made mention of this last night, on the Overreaction show. She was really upset with Greenlaw on the face mask one because that one really extended the drive on a 3rd and long or a 3rd and something, and we could have been off the field. Listen, Nick Bosa spoke about something. Nick Bosa doesn't speak a lot, okay? Can we listen to Nick Bosa, please? Please. Can we listen to Nick Bosa, please? He spoke.
Anything new in the second half? We just had penalties. We knew he was going to slide at the last second, and we hit him, I think, twice on 3rd downs that are opportunities to get off the field. And it's 15 yards for a team that can't move the ball. It's huge. So, yeah, we got to be smarter.
We got to be smarter. Am I the only one that feels like Nick Bosa was pissed at his defense? Like, he was pissed. You know what, Uncle Shan? It's hilarious. But for the first time in my life, even in his tonality, where it's usually dull, I felt angry and frustration because he felt like, damn it, Greenlaw, damn it, Al-Shaair, get y'all shit right. If the quarterback is going to slide, just don't even tackle. Don't even dive. Don't even think about it. Just let him slide. He's giving himself up. And I think that was his frustration. That's my frustration. If I'm Nick Bosa, that would have been my frustration. What would have been your frustration? I think Nick Bosa was clearly frustrated. He was so frustrated. Hold on.
Much new.
Just want to mute it. Hold on.
Anything new?
All right. He's so frustrated. He didn't even do his hair coming out of the shower. His hair is usually slick back, like a pimp named Slick Back. It's kind of styled. It's kind of looking good. You get what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. Nick Bosa's pissed off. He doesn't even want to do this damn presser, but he knows he has to because he's a captain and he needs to be heard. All right? Nick Bosa's pissed. I don't care what he sounds like. He's mad. He's angry. He's upset. Melissa has a thought. Breezy, thoughts on Aziz? Huge flag for landing sort of on top of Fields, but nobody in Chicago got called for the multitude of hits on Trey Lance. You know why they didn't get called for the multitude of hits on Trey Lance? Because Trey Lance doesn't slide. Trey Lance enters the hit like a running back. They're not going to ever call it. But Justin Fields is giving himself up, sliding feet first. They're always going to call it. I thought this was a ticky-tacky foul, but they're going to call it only because the quarterback slid feet first, bam, bam, that was a hit. Justin Fields had another slide knee where he gave himself up. It was ugly as shit, but you know what? Justin is looking to give himself up. That's why a lot of 49er fans are saying, slide, Trey, slide. You might get hit, but at least if you get hit, you're going to get a damn penalty. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was. Oh my gosh. How you say your name? J Subic Bay 68. I hope I said that right. I thought we were playing Russell Wilson out there. I don't care what Nick Bosa said. Nick Bosa said that they didn't do any adjusting. He said they didn't do anything different. That's bullshit, Nick. Justin Fields was different. Justin Fields was way different in the second half than he was in the first half. Ask me how I know. Terror Dome, if you're still watching, what did the defense stop doing on Justin Fields? Contain. They were giving him outside lanes to run, outside pockets to run. So if Nick felt that they didn't do any different on the game planning, whatever, I beg to differ because they scored 19 points. They had 0 points, Nick. How did they not do anything different, Nick? They scored 19 points. Now, to Nick's defense, he's probably talking about the 49ers gave up penalty yards, which kept them alive and allowed things. But guess what? They still put the ball in the end zone, not once, 3 times. And they missed 2 extra points. So they scored, technically, 21 points. Dope question from my brother, Jerry Breezy. Why did Trey run so much? Those weren't designed. He actually had, I believe, 4, 5 design runs. Some were breakdowns, though. That 3rd and 13, that was all Trey Lance. You guys have to understand who Trey Lance is. And I'm not yelling at you. You have to understand who Trey Lance is. Trey Lance is a quarterback that can run. So he's going to look to find ways to extend plays in his own way. He's not going to be or extend the play like a Patrick Mahomes. No one complains in Buffalo when Josh Allen drops back, takes off and runs. Not one Buffalo Bill fan complained. Not one of you complained because you got him in your fantasy leagues. But when Trey Lance do it, everybody wants him to start running. I'm not talking about you, Jerry, and specifically. I'm just talking about our fan base. We got to relax and let Trey be Trey. Trey is, his play style might be a little weird and unorthodox to us. But guys, let him be who he is. He's trying to figure out the nuances of the game. And he'll understand that he's going to have to slide. No one complained when he slid in that preseason game against whoever and they had a nice baseball slide. But in this particular game, he was trying to extend plays. That 3rd and 13 play let me know that Trey Lance is about to be a mother freaking monster. He wants to keep the drives alive by any means necessary. And if that includes him running, yes. Now, does he slide? Yes. He needs to slide feet first. But listen, he didn't, because on some of those plays, some of those quarterback runs, he had a quarterback keeper, he had a quarterback draw. He had some design runs, bro. Those were designed. And Kyle Shanahan even talked about it in the presser. The linebackers were playing off, and it just felt right for him to do those plays. So you gotta trust Kyle too. You gotta trust him. Do I believe some of Kyle Shanahan's play calling is suspect? Hell yeah. When you talk about these penalties, And now we're talking about the play calling. That's where it gets a little bit tricky because Kyle had some play calls that I felt like, damn it, Kyle, you could have did some things a little bit differently. And hear me out, right? I'm not questioning Kyle Shanahan as a head coach. I'm not questioning Kyle Shanahan as an offensive coordinator, but I do think some of his play calling is poorly timed. Now, I will say if you watch some of his plays and they don't work, like they're incomplete, it's because of poor execution. But I still feel like he can call different plays. Like on the 4th and 1, I think we were up, and I know you protect the lead when you're up, but it was 4th and 1, and you really needed this first down. You didn't want to punt the ball and let your defense come right back out on the field. Right now, if your defense had to come back on the field because you took a risk and gambled on that 4th and 1, so be it. Defense got to put their big boy pants on and come and do it. But I felt like if he would have let Trey Lance quarterback sneak, he also had a quarterback sneak in the game too. If he would have let Trey Lance just quarterback sneak it for a 4th and 1 or something, just push the pile forward, man, it would have showed that Kyle remained aggressive all game. I don't think he remained aggressive all game. I got into an argument with Mike about it last night. I felt like Kyle became conservative Kyle. It's what he does. It's who he is. It's what we're going to see just about every game. And I think that's the reason why we couldn't find a way to get back into a rhythm. The defense had been out on the field the majority of the game, and yeah, they were holding it down. But Kyle, at some point, you got to think that Chicago's going to figure it out. And they did. Chicago figured it out. So if you pick Chicago, the reason why we lost, I respect it because they figured it out. They were like, look, we got the scores close. We should be getting our ass with 21-0. We're only losing by 7 points. We're only losing by 10 points now. Let's go out here and do the dang thing. And that's what they did. You know what I'm saying? And so kudos, and I tip my hat off to the Chicago Bears for coming out victorious. But 49ers, they need to take a look in the mirror and they need to be like, hey, this ain't it. Yo, speaking of that, Trent Williams, hella angry. And he's hella angry because they lost. And I'm hella angry because we lost. I didn't even sleep. But let's listen to Trent Williams about his angryism. And let's listen to him explain why.
Had the game in the hand, and you know that a lot of unforced mistakes is what really caused it. So, you know, we got a young team. We'll bounce back. We'll be better next week. But, you know, anytime you let a team hang around, it's never going to be that good. And you know, just so happened that when we got to really move the ball through the air, that's when the weather was its worst. So that's what happens, man.
All right, man. Listen, Trent Williams he's frustrated and he had to go ahead and collect his thoughts. And you know, I like that he's frustrated. I like a frustrated veteran. I think Nick Bosa was frustrated. Notice how our captains are frustrated, right? Our captains. And I wonder how the captains feel in letting the team down. You know what I'm saying? Because in my opinion, this is my opinion, okay? Trey Lance was a captain out there. In my opinion, if you listen to the players talk about him in pressers, they talked about his leadership. They talked about how he didn't lose poise in the pocket. They talked about his command in the huddle. They talked about all things that captains do. They talked about on the sideline how Trey Lance, after a turnover or after a loss of downs or whatever, went to the team and was like, listen, guys, we can come back out here. We can get them back. We could do this. We could do that. Listen, that's captain material. I get he young. I get he shouldn't be. I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle Shanahan, and I don't know if he can do this, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle Shanahan tries to get Trey Lance up into that captainship role at some point in this season, whether it's honorary captain or whatever, just from this particular situation and how he still managed to go out there and lead his men. That's important. And to hear Trent Williams speak about it, not in that particular clip, but in his presser, to hear him speak about Trey Lance and his poise and his leadership and all that type of stuff spoke volumes. And you also heard it from Deebo Samuel, all right, because they asked both of those guys out there about Trey Lance, all right? And I liked it, right? And I even like what Kyle Shanahan said. He said, listen, I thought Trey Lance in the first half was good. I think he did everything he was supposed to do. And the second half was a little bit different. But the weather conditions changed. It started pouring down raining. We had to change this up. We had to do this, you know, and then Trey Lance looked like he couldn't hit the side of a barn. Guys, Deebo said that the ball was so wet and heavy, it was hard to throw. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but we had to throw the ball because we were down by 9 points. So my gripe is from the missed opportunities, right? If you don't miss out on those opportunities and you put points on the board and you don't miss out on those ops, then you don't put yourself in that situation where you got to throw the ball in the downpour of a rain. Even though the rain stopped, it came back. Ask me how I know. Oh, I was in the monsoon. I was out there just like, oh my gosh, like this is literally a monsoon. I was out here. It was crazy. It was crazy. When I left the stadium, I was walking in puddles. I was walking in not puddles. I was walking in water up to my like right below my kneecaps in the stadium. Soldier Field, y'all need a new field. I heard y'all getting one next year. Please work on that. UMC hashtag 49er. If I missed your question, my apologies. I'm talking to the camera and you, so I didn't see it. So if you ask the question, just ask it again. I do apologize if I missed it. I try not to miss questions. Sean, thank you for the contribution. He says our offensive game plan was garbage. Oh, Sean, save it for tonight's show, please. We need to talk about plan B. Our offensive game plan was garbage. No adjustments. And what happened to our D? The defense got tired. They threw an egg. We see it happen all the time. It's not the first time we watched our defense lay an egg, right? It's not the first time. We've seen it happen against really good quarterbacks and really bad quarterbacks. I'm not saying Justin Field is bad or good, but he capitalized and we didn't. Ufunga did well. We're going to talk about that and we're going to get on up out of here because I got to go catch a flight. I forgot. I could stay here and talk to you guys like all darn day. All right. So that's what it was, man. You know, I thought the play calling could have been a little bit different. Just from a standpoint of Kyle, there were times where one side of the field was wide open. You could have ran a crossing route to that side. You could have faked the handoff, bootleg to the right, and then boom, it's just one guy, one defender, one quarterback, nobody in his face. He can pull the ball and run for himself, or he can throw it to his wide open guy, and then you move the chains. I think that was it. And then I also felt like he could have utilized Jordan Mason a little bit but he really felt comfortable from his presser. He felt comfortable in Jeff Wilson Jr. He felt like Jeff Wilson Jr. came in and did the damn thing. Had Jeff Wilson Jr. went down or whatever, or got tired, he said that he would have used Jordan Mason. So go ahead and check out Kyle's presser. All right. That's what he said. Straight up. My cousin Sid, he was in the building, man. I got a chance to chop it up and hang out with the family, man. It was so cool. I thank you for the contribution, bro. Love you, fam. I'll definitely be here for this tonight show. Yes, I appreciate you, man. It was really good chopping up with you. Just talking about life and football was really cool, man. Really good guy. And I can't wait to chop it up with you again, bro. Thank you for the contribution. And I will see you tonight for sure. For sure. You guys got a lot of stuff. Will I ever answer the question? I don't even know what the question is. Did you re-ask the question? Estrada again, is he talking to me? I don't know. Are you talking to me? I don't know if you're talking to me. Like, I can't tell if you're talking to me. Is this the question? Breezy, I knew when we had to settle for 3, we were in trouble. I didn't want to say it though. I didn't want to speak that into existence, but deep down in my bones, I was like, damn, we didn't get a touchdown right here. We drove the ball all the way down to the red zone. We drove the ball down to the red zone, and we didn't get a touchdown right here. When you keep a team that has nothing to lose close, there's a possibility of it ending bad. Yeah, it did end bad too, right? Because they scored, they should have scored 21 points. They scored They scored 19 points. Did they score 19 straight points? Oh, snap. They scored 19 straight points. We were up 10-0. We lost 19-10. Damn. That's a bad ending. Stock up, stock down. There's one player, just one player. One player in particular. Actually 2 players. My stock down on the offensive side is Mike McGlinchey. Now he wasn't the worst out there. Like he wasn't like terrible. But he got beat by a rookie really bad on the inside. That was the first sack by Trey Lance where he got spun around down to the ground. That would have been my stock down, like from an offensive. I didn't think the offense was that. I didn't think the offense was that bad. I just think they couldn't get into a rhythm. I think that sack though. I think that kind of like I don't know. Other than that, I felt like he played pretty decent. But that giving up a sack opposed to a penalty is pretty bad. I think the sack is. I think it weighs more than a penalty, even though penalties can hurt you more, right? Like at the wrong, especially when they come at the wrong time. But I thought Mike McGlinchey, if I had to give it to a stock down for an offensive player, because I really don't have any offensive players to give it to, I would say them. Stock ups, I had two highlight players that I felt like deserved my game balls. You know what I'm saying? Again, like I said, Greenlaw, he was just the worst. Defensively, I'm sorry. Stock down, Greenlaw, worst player in the field, hands down. Missed like 2 or 3 missed tackles, the 2 penalties that were costly that at the wrong time. I thought he was the worst player in the field. It is what it is. I don't have to go into detail about it, but everybody knows he was the worst defender on the field. He was the worst player on both sides of the field. And it sucks because then he did have a couple of tackles, a couple of stops. He was in there on a sack. He didn't get this credit for this. I was in there, but in coverage, he was terrible. Worst player on the field. But my X factors, I had 2. And their stocks will be going up depending on situations. But I thought on the offensive side, it was Jawan Jennings, who led the team in receiving. 4 receptions, 62 yards, led the team with receiving. And man, listen, his number was called. The balls that were thrown to him that were catchable, he caught. You're not looking for him to get in the yak, but he kept he did what he had to do. He did his assignment, he did his role. All right. And so that's why I gave it to Jawan Jennings. And then Talanoa Hufanga. All right. Talanoa Hufanga, man. Talanoa Hufanga was, oh my gosh. Oh my God. All over the field. 11 total tackles. 11 total tackles. One of those was a tackle for a loss. One of those, he had an interception and a pass breakup. Dude was in the backfield. He had 6 defensive stops in total. He had the highest grade and PFF for the 49ers for defense. And I wouldn't be surprised if he has the highest grade in defense this week in the league. 90.2 was his PFF grade. 90.2. I'm going to say it one more time. I put that out early this morning. So if you see other people put it out, please let them know. I put it out at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, something like that. 90.2 was his grade. This boy was playing. He is Pterodome Huff looked like Palomaloski in the first half. They was still in it on the second half, bro. Still in it. Rick says, hey, Breezy, do you think that Kyle call the right place? Yes or no? What do you think? Do I think the Kyle call? Which Kyle call are you talking about? Are you talking about the 4th and 1 where we punted the ball? Because I really wanted to go for that. I thought the 49ers should have went for it. That would have determined the mojo. I think it would have kept us in some type of a rhythm. It would have gave us a boost and a jolt. And I think Kyle should have kept the aggressive button. If that's the play you're talking about, Rick, yes, I really do think that he should have went for it. But those are my players of the game. We're going to break this game down in full detail on the Nitty Gritty Niners talk show tonight. We're going to talk a little bit more about this plan B and where was the plan B? Was there a plan B? Things like that. We'll break that down. Let me answer a couple of questions before I get on up out of here. Let's see what you guys got. Vince Felice says, Breezy, think the fans will stop the we don't need Kittle talk? I don't know what fan in their right mind feels that, but if you find them, please tag me in it because I just want to have a conversation with the fan that says we don't need Kittle because the 49ers need every weapon. Here's why. The 49ers puzzle is a masterpiece puzzle. Masterpiece puzzle. Once it's put together, it looks like a masterpiece. Sometimes you got to try to get some other pieces and make them fit because you lost a piece or you can't find the piece. So you got to put a different type of piece in. It's got the same shape, but it's not a perfect fit. It's not a perfect fit. George Kittle is one of those pieces that needs to be in order for your picture, your puzzle to be a masterpiece. You need the George Kittle portion. Unfortunately, he was injured. And so, yeah, he was out there on the field. I personally think that they miss George Kittle's energy, man. Good golly, oh Molly. That was a George Kittle game opposed to a Deebo Samuel game. Had the weather conditions not been that, it would have been a Deebo Samuel game. But because the weather conditions are what they were, that was a George Kittle game, hands down. Hands down. And him missing, not saying that's the reason why we lost. I'm just saying we need George Kittle. So let's start saying that. That was actually going to be my poll question. Which piece is more detrimental that's missing right now? Is it Kittle? Is it Ward? Is it Elijah Mitchell? And I had a fourth player, and I couldn't remember who the fourth player was. All right. But listen, we definitely need George Kittle. Rick is saying, yes, he was talking about the fourth and one. They should have went for it. They should have went for it. Patrick Garcia, what do you think about my Greenlaw take? Oh my gosh, I probably missed it because there's 8,000 comments. Can you say it real quick and I'll get back to your Greenlaw take? I'm trying to find it. I say he's a troll. If you just put it back in the chat, man, I'll look for it. All right, please do that for me. All right, just put it again in the chat. Got a contribution. Sean says, Breezy, is the last thing good in Chicago? Breezy is the last thing good in Chicago. Well, I tell you what, I had a Giordano's Chicago style deep dish pizza and I couldn't finish it. Not because it was nasty, it was just ridiculously thick. Pause. The pie was thick, and I was like, what in the heck? So I had to throw it out because I'm about to leave and it's in the trash can right now. But I did grab me an Italian beef sandwich to go. So that's going to be my food for today. All right. So I'll probably have that in my traveling. And I'll tell you how that is. But that was really good, man. The food so far here has been good. I had my Chicago style hot dogs. All right. And now I'm about to do this. Had the deep dish pizza from Giordano's, and now I'm about to do the Italian beef sandwich. All right. All right. So thanks, Sean, for the contribution. Appreciate you. Pterodome says they are huge, bro. And here's the thing, Pterodome. It was a small. Expensive, but a small. All right. Giordano's is top 2 for sure. I didn't make it to Illuminati's. I think that was the name of the place. Didn't make it there. All right. My apologies. I see some of you guys saying, yeah, I was full off of a small. So I only ate 3 of the small, but I ate half of the small. It's crazy. I'm trying to find the question from I'm trying to see if he posted it. I don't know. What's good? That's good, Dion. I'm about to jump off here, but I can't find your question. I tell you what, shoot me an email, Patrick, about your take on Greenlaw, and I'll respond to you personally in the email. All right. If you don't mind. Sid says lose is overrated. And hey, you're probably right. Never been there. I can't tell because I didn't get a chance to go. Sid, and I also miss going to that soul food place that you Mose and Joe went to. I'm mad at y'all for that. I'm gonna keep it 100. Like I'm still mad at y'all for that. Southside Bear says, Breezy, everyone actually in Chicago doesn't. Are you serious? You're lying. You knew I was here and you didn't tell me what I needed to eat. I see how you do. I see how Chicago Bear fans do. All right. But guys, man, listen, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Listen, don't forget to check out Nitty Gritty Niners. It should be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I should be back on the East Coast at some point around 4 or 5 p.m. I'm going to drive home, jump right on. We're going to give y'all a show tonight. Nothing But Niners. Mike should be there. Hopefully Tony, Nick will be there. I'm hoping the whole crew is in there, man, because I really want to sit there and just have a nice conversation with my family. All right. And it's going to be a great show. Peachy will be there. Moles will be there. Fear won't be there. He's out celebrating his honeymoon. And shout out to Fair and his beautiful wife, man. Congratulations on your marriage. I love y'all, man. Stay up, stay faithful. Always keep it nitty gritty. And thanks for watching. Most importantly, I'm out of Chicago. I got to get the heck out of here, man. We lost. I don't want to be here no more. I don't want to be here no more. I'm out, y'all. Thanks for watching.